I'm from Afghanistan, a country that once again has been stolen by a terrorist group. If you're a woman today or a young girl, you're not allowed even to go to school. You're not allowed to go to university. You're not allowed to work. And you're not allowed to speak publicly because of your gender identity. If you're from an ethnic minority, like myself, if you're Hazara, it's okay for Taliban to must kill you, to kill you, your family, your people, just because you don't look like them, just because your religion is different, your values are different, the way you practice God or the way you want to live a life is different to what they have in your ideological world. That's where I am from. And today is about justice, coming together, standing in solidarity, speaking out against injustice, because this is the free country. This is where we have our freedom of speech. This is a place where we can stand up for others. If that's refugees, if that's other countries that are suffering in war, conflict, if that's for other people who are experiencing genocide, like my people, the Hazara people. Why? Because we can do this. And I'm proudly standing here as an Australian citizen, soon to become a citizen, and practicing my right. But most importantly, as a human being, today is about standing in solidarity, speaking up against injustice. Unfortunately, that injustice doesn't only happen in Afghanistan. It happens around the world. It happens here, under our watch. And we made it normalized. We made it that it's okay. We made it that it's okay to detain people in an island far away from us for over a decade. Shame. Keep them away from their families, steal their future, their life. Why? Because they escaped genocide. They escaped a country like I did, Afghanistan. Why? Because they were suffering genocide, persecution, because of their identity. Came all the way to Australia only seeking refuge and protection. But instead, what the Australian government has done is to keep them away in a detention facility or in a remote island for over a decade. Punish them mentally, day by day, to a point that many of them couldn't survive anymore and have taken their lives. You know, tens of people killed themselves because once they run away from genocide conflict, come to Australia, a country that prides itself on respecting human rights, protecting refugees, because we are part of the UN Convention. We are part of the UN Refugee Convention, the Convention 1951, to provide protection for those that are running from genocide, persecution, fear for their lives, and provide them protection to stay here, to live. We have a moral obligation to the international community, but we haven't respected or followed that. And instead, what we've done, keep people in community here in Australia for over a decade on temporary visa, not allowing them to sponsor their families, in most cases even not allow them to work. We've taken their work right. We have kept them apart for over 10 years from their loved ones, while in my sick people in my scenario, their families running away from the Taliban, from Afghanistan to neighboring countries. We have refugees, a father or a mother living in Australia while their family is running away from war, from Afghanistan as a refugee to Pakistan or to Iran. But they can't sponsor their families. because their visa type, Australia, failed to provide them a permanent protection, failed to allow them to sponsor their families. And that's the refugee life as we speak today. And I really appreciate you coming out today and standing in solidarity, but sharing your love with refugees, that you're not alone, and telling them it's not okay to suffer, because we're here to defend your rights. Another reminder, refugees do not have the same rights as an Australian resident or Australian citizen have. They are forced to sign a contract by the immigration of not speaking publicly. What I am doing today, I could not do this 5 years ago, 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, because of my visa condition. If I did, I could have breached my visa condition. And that's why you don't often hear from refugees, because they have condition on their visa, fearing if they speak up, tell people what's the truth, who they are, they're breaching their visa condition. And they could end up being in detention center forever, or they could be deported back to where they run away, genocide, persecution, or fear for their life. That's the reality of refugees. My story is not unique, or not an isolated story of a refugee. I was young, I was 17 when my father was taken away by the Taliban terrorist group, threatening me because I was the oldest son and accusing my family of supporting NATO or international forces in Afghanistan, because he was a doctor and they found some English documents with him accusing him that he was working with international forces. Took him away, accusing my family of supporting the international forces on the ground in Afghanistan. And we know what the Taliban would do if they accuse someone of supporting international forces. Then, there is no one in Afghanistan now, by the way. You have to pay the price, and the price is normally blood. They will come to your door, they will take the oldest son in your family, and they will behead them in front of the whole community to teach people a lesson to not engage with foreign forces. And that would have been me if my mom didn't make a decision to send me to a safe country where I am today now. So my mom made a rough decision, either to keep me in Afghanistan, run away, which we did for a couple of months. It was getting harder and harder every day. And she couldn't protect me anymore from the Taliban. So the decision she made was to send me to a safe country, knowing that getting to a safe country was not easy. Often refugees endure, tortures, pain before getting to a country, because you have to cross many countries. And often you don't have travel documents with you, you're illegal in those countries. And that's what happened. So my journey started from Afghanistan. I was smuggled to India, then to Malaysia, and then to Indonesia. And then finally, to Australia, where I was detained in Christmas Island for about a month. Then I was detained in Tasmania for about 2 months. I was released in the community on a bridging visa with no work rights and no access to education. I couldn't speak English, but I was not allowed even to enroll to a TAFE class or other classes to learn English. But however, I didn't stay silent. Why? As a Hazara man, what I thought was, I ran away from being silent. I ran away of protecting myself and my identity of who I am and who I was. I couldn't speak up in Afghanistan because of the Taliban. Here I am in Australia now. It's a country that prides itself on international stages that we're protecting human rights. We have freedom of speech. We allow people to express their views and what they believe in. But I couldn't do that because of my visa condition. But I didn't stay silent. I've been speaking up since my arrival. Luckily, I haven't been detained. Luckily, I haven't been deported. For me, it was important that there is no other place where I can run away. I ran from Afghanistan. I am here now, and this is it. I'm not going anywhere else. But I have to tell people who is Hazaras, what we experience in Afghanistan, and then who is refugees, and what we experience here. So I've been telling my stories just to bring the truth to people. and telling Australian community, Australian people, who we are, who is a refugee and who is Hazara, why we are leaving Afghanistan. So I've been doing that till now, 12 years on. I have my permanent visa now, and luckily, I was very lucky one that my family came as a refugee 2 years ago. So I have my mom here, my siblings, my brothers and my sisters. I'm telling this not just to show off or showcase a good case study. I'm telling this because it's the power of speaking up towards injustice. It's a power of telling the truth. It's a power of connecting the Australian community and Australian people. It's that because it made this happen, that I'm an Australian citizen, and soon I will become an Australian citizen and I have my family here. But also I'm telling this because every individual can make a difference. You showing up today here, you're making a difference to a refugee's life who is probably watching you on social media or who is here like me and with you. So it's a solidarity, caring, and standing up against inhuman treatment of refugees if they're in Nauru or PNG or here in our community. So I have 3 asks as I'm finishing up. It's not okay to treat others differently, particularly those who are coming here seeking refuge, seeking safety, seeking protection. It's not okay to detain them indefinitely. It's not okay to deport them to an island and keep them there for centuries. And we have new laws that potentially could deport refugees from our community to Nauru on a 30 years visa, and that's not okay. And it's not okay to keep people in community on temporary visas away from their family. But also it's not okay to see genocide, war, conflict happening in other part of the world and stay silent. So as we're going towards an election, it's crucial time. We are making a decision that could impact thousands of lives. As of today, there's over 7,000 people who came with me or similar time to me in Australia. They're still on 6-month bridging visa. Which candidate and which government will resolve their problem? Because they cannot go back to Afghanistan, they cannot go back to Iran or Palestine. They need protection. That's why they've been living in this horrible, inhuman condition for 10 years. So we have to resolve. Whoever resolves 7,000 people's cases, we have to consider. But also, it's not okay to reduce our refugee intake because that's life-changing opportunity for many refugees. We have over 120 million refugees displaced around the world. Again, my family is a great example that Australia could make a difference in their lives. So we have to keep our refugee intake going, but increasing as well, because many countries have turned their back to refugees, particularly US with the recent election. And also, it's not okay to keep the offshore detention running. It costs us money, but it's scaling people. So we have to consider these 3 things. Resolving the cases of people seeking asylum in our community, it's about 7,000 people. Closing offshore detention, bringing those people here. There's 40 people in PNG, have been there for over 10 years now. They're mentally broken individuals. They need care, they need safety. We need to provide those care, love, and safety net to those 40 individuals. And also there's over 100 people again in Nauru. It's not okay to keep them another 10 years in those horrible conditions. So as we're going towards an election, please do talk to your politician, candidates, and make a decision that will change lives of refugees and lives of people seeking asylum. Again, thank you for being here today. It's a great pleasure to come and share a day with you. Thank you.